Okay, this is the pig dissection. These are the external nares here, and this right here is the nasal cavity. This hard bone right here is the hard palate, and if you follow it along, you can actually put your probe here, and you can see where it kind of gets soft right here, right there. So that's the soft palate. The soft palate is going to end here with the uvula at the back of the throat. This is the tongue here. This is the oral cavity. You can see. Let me look on this other side. Yeah, on this side right here. See this side right here where this is? This is the tongue again. This is the hard palate. This is the nasal cavity. This entire structure right here is the pharynx. This is the nasopharynx. Notice that it's like, here's the nasal cavity. This is the soft palate, so it's right above the soft palate. Come back just a little bit. This is the oral cavity here, so your food would come in through this right here. So this is the oropharynx, and this is the laryngopharynx. This is the larynx, that enlarged larynx here. Okay, look at this structure right here. I think you're at a good angle of seeing it too. See how it has that little curved round structure there kind of? And that looks, I don't know about round, but a curved structure that looks like the esophagus on the model. That's actually the esophagus. So whenever you swallow food, like food would be here in the oral cavity, it comes down, and whenever the tongue pushes the esophagus down, it closes. And see how it covers the opening of the larynx here? Mm-hmm. And the food would slide down to the esophagus here. This is the trachea. And this, that right there, I can't get behind it very good, but I saw it. That structure right there that's on top of the probe right here, that smooth muscle, that's the esophagus. Okay, so let's go through that one more time. This is the nasal cavity. This is the external nares. The internal nares would be right here. This is the hard palate. You can see the ridges there in the bone. That's the hard palate. And follow it back and see how it gets soft right there. That's the soft palate. And this right here, the very end of the soft palate, is the uvula. The food would go from the oral cavity. You would swallow it. It would go down this direction, and the tongue movements would move this epiglottis right down. So this right here is the epiglottis. And I really like that picture right there. See, it's curved right there. Air would go through this right here. And it's cut right there, but it would go through that and go into the larynx. This enlarged structure here is the larynx. This is the trachea. And this smooth structure posterior to the trachea is the esophagus. The pharynx, this right here is the nasopharynx because it's above the soft palate. See, that's in contact with the nasal cavity. This is the oropharynx. This is the oral cavity, and there's the pharynx in attaching to or associated with the oral cavity. And this right here is the laryngopharynx. So that's the head model. This one over here. Okay. This one over here, it looks different, looks like a different color. They all look a little different. This right here is the external nares. This is the nasal cavity here. This is the hard palate. Should have just not said anything. So just like quiz all y'all. So this is the hard palate here, and see where it gets soft there. That's the soft palate. So this right here would be the uvula. Would be somewhere there. There's the tongue. This one right here. The reason I cut the other one that we just went over is because I didn't think it was that great on the pharynx and stuff. This right here is the pharynx. See how it's all like messed up and everything. So it's not a very good specimen for that. This right here. Let me turn this head this way. This right here is a good pharynx region. This is the nasopharynx here. This is the oropharynx. This is the laryngopharynx. And this is the epiglottis, but it got cut in half and it's not that great of a picture, but that's it right there. That's the epiglottis. And you can see that it would come down. You can see it. That right there is your uvula. And that space between the uvula and the epiglottis, that's where the food would go. Okay, so let's look at our digestive organs here. Here you have your lungs. This over here, these are your right lungs. These are the left lungs. This right here is the diaphragm. This is part of the diaphragm, and this is part of the diaphragm. This is the liver here. If you lift up the liver, you can see this one's kind of in pieces a little bit, but this is the stomach. The structures you need to know on the stomach are, let me hold this one down. This right here is the lesser curvature of the stomach. This is the greater curvature of the stomach. This is the location of the cardiac sphincter, and this is the location of the pyloric sphincter. Is there anything else we need to know in the stomach?
Cardiac region.
Cardiac region? Mm-hmm. Okay, this is the cardiac sphincter, would be located in this area here, so this is the cardiac region.
And the pyloric sphincter, did you say
This is the pyloric sphincter here. And actually, it's a pretty big sphincter. You can kind of feel that with your fingers. It's if you get the opportunity, you might want to feel the pyloric sphincter. Okay, the stomach is going to take the food, it's actually called chyme at that point, into the small intestines. So this right here is the first part of the small intestines. That's the duodenum. In a human, the duodenum is about 12 inches long. So I'm saying here in the pig, I'm going to estimate that it's about 1 inch long. So this right here, it starts here, right here at the pyloric sphincter, and it comes around like this right here, and starts coming out this way. So we have all of this right here as your small intestines. You can see we have it all strung out this way. So the first inch of it, or first inch or two maybe, is the first part of the small intestines, and that would be called the what? Duodenum. Okay, the middle part is the jejunum, so I would say it would come over here. In a human, it is 2 meters, it's actually 2.2 to 2.4 meters long. And then this right here is the ileum. It's the last part of the small intestines, and in a human, it is 3.3 to 3.6 meters long. So it's over half the length of the small intestine. So that's why I say whenever we string it out like this right here, this halfway point right here, we can say all of this right here is definitely the ileum. And then this longer part closer, to the ileum is the jejunum. And then about 1 inch away from your pyloric sphincter is going to be the duodenum. So those are the 3 parts of the small intestines. This still curled up structure here looks like a beehive. That's the large intestines. Where the small intestine comes into the large intestines, you have your ileocecal sphincter. Let me find it here. Here it is right here. This is really good. This is the cecum right here. If you remember from AMP1, the rat, the cecum is a blind pouch. So let me get a real good picture of this. This right here is the small intestines, and you'll see how this is the small intestines that I'm lifting up. This is continuing it right here, and it goes right here into the structure. This structure here is the cecum, and you see how food, if it goes down into this area here, the cecum, it would have to turn around and come back out. That's kind of the definition of the cecum. It's called a blind pouch. The ileocecal sphincter would be located here. So let's turn this around, like move the large intestine over. You have the descending colon here. And if you dissected it down, which nobody's done before, that's going to be the rectum. Okay. Come back up here. Let's look at some more organs. This is the spleen here. The spleen is located here, this brown structure here. It's kind of torn in, it's halfway in two there. The pancreas. The pancreas is this material right here over to the spleen. You see it's got this part right here is it. So it goes from here on over here to the spleen. That's the pancreas. Okay, we need to look at the gallbladder. So we need to lower the stomach, pull it down, and lift the liver up because the gallbladder is on the inferior surface. If you lift the liver up, we've got this little squishy area right here. And we're going to see it on the fresher pig better in just a second. But this right here is the gallbladder. The cystic duct is what's going to carry bile from the liver, or actually from the ducts, into the gallbladder. So this right here is the cystic duct. This is the gallbladder. If you come down, see how I'm pulling right there and the gallbladder is being pulled down? Well, that tells me that the common hepatic duct is right around in this area here, but it's such a shambles here we can't see it. This right here is the very first part of the duodenum, right? Remember, this is the pyloric sphincter. So I'm going to lower that down. This tube right here, that's the common bile duct. This is the common bile duct here, right here, the common bile duct. So this is the cystic duct here at the base of the gallbladder, and this is the common bile duct here, and it's emptying into the duodenum. Okay, so let's go back over to our fresher pig. It's not that it's fresher, it's just that nobody's torn up the liver. Okay, so here we have the liver. Let's lift it up, and we have this little squishy structure right here. See that? And that right there, that's the gallbladder. And so this right here is the cystic duct. At the base of it, you have an artery in there too. It's not the artery, it's the little clear one beside it. let me move that stomach down. So this right here is the cystic duct. This right here, can somebody pick up that liver?
Everybody took their gloves off.
And this right here is the common bile duct. And see, it's emptying into, this right here is the pyloric sphincter, so that would be the very first part of the small intestines. Okay, and then you can see your small intestines is curled up still, nobody cut it apart. The small intestines is named the small intestines. If you look at the diameter of the small intestines, it's smaller than these tubes over here. This is the large intestines. So what names the small intestines is the diameter, and the large intestines has a larger diameter. Okay, I think that's everything on our list.
Mesentery.
Okay, are you still reading? Oh, okay. Sorry.
It's just for our class only.
Okay, no, we're doing this for everybody forever. We're putting this on YouTube for the whole world to see. Okay, you see your intestines here? Nobody cut the mesentery apart. That's why it's still all curled up and everything. So this right here is mesentery. That clear stuff right there. If you remember fascia, it's the same type of tissue, but it's actually holding the organs together. So if you can see the probe, but kind of see that clearish tissue on the top of it, that's the mesentery. Okay, thank you.